What's the most chilling thing you found in something you bought secondhand? I was wandering through the Saturday flea market, the kind where you can smell kettle corn in the air and hear vendors yelling about 2-for-1 deals. Rows of mismatched tables spilled over with old records, chipped teacups, and dusty photo frames. I wasn't looking for anything specific, just killing time. That's when I saw it. Folded neatly on top of a stack of faded linens was the softest, most delicate baby blanket I'd ever seen. Pastel yellow with tiny embroidered ducks waddling along the edge. The fabric looked practically new, no stains, no fraying. I picked it up, and for a moment, I swear it smelled faintly of lavender. My fingers sank into the plush material. $5, the handwritten tag read. The seller, a woman in her mid-40s with a messy brown bun and a denim jacket covered in patches, smiled when I held it up. "That one's special," she said, almost in a whisper. I didn't think much of it at the time. I paid her, tucked it into my tote bag, and went home. Back in my apartment, I decided to wash it before storing it away, maybe for when my niece visited or just as a cozy throw. I tossed it into the machine, but as I shook it out beforehand, something caught my attention. One corner felt lumpy. Not like stuffing, but like there was something hidden beneath the stitches. I frowned and held it up to the light. The outline of a small, rigid object was visible under the fabric. Curiosity took over. I grabbed a seam ripper from my sewing kit and began to carefully unpick the stitches. Inside, tucked neatly like it was meant to be hidden, was a tiny plastic hospital ID tag. My breath hitched as I read it. It had a newborn girl's name printed in bold black letters, a date of birth just 3 weeks ago, and the hospital name was one town over. Goosebumps spread up my arms. Why would a brand new baby blanket with an ID tag from a newborn be sold at a flea market? And so soon after the baby was born, pit formed in my stomach. Something about this didn't feel right. I sat on my couch for a full minute staring at the tag. Finally, I picked up my phone and called the hospital. When the nurse answered, I explained what I'd found. She asked me to read the name and date out loud. The moment I finished, the line went dead silent. Then she said, "Please hold." A new voice came on, a deep, serious male voice. "This is the head of hospital security. Can you confirm your name and address?" I hesitated. "Why?" "Because what you found is evidence in an active investigation. Please do not give that blanket to anyone else. We're sending someone immediately." My hands were shaking as I hung up. 30 minutes later, 2 police officers were at my door. They examined the blanket like it was made of glass. They told me the baby whose name was on the tag had gone missing from the hospital 2 weeks ago. According to the mother, she'd been told her newborn was being taken for additional tests. In the middle of the night, the baby never came back. The blanket? It had been part of the swaddling she was wrapped in right after birth. My heart was pounding. I gave them every detail I could remember about the woman who sold it to me. The messy bun, patched denim jacket, the faint smile when she said, "That one's special." The officers exchanged a look. One of them quietly said, "We think we know who she is." 2 days later, my phone rang again. It was the detective on the case. They'd found the baby alive, but weak and malnourished inside a locked room at the woman's apartment. She had been posing as a hospital volunteer for months, slipping in and out of maternity wards, taking blankets, hats, and eventually, a baby. Her plan was to raise the child as her own. The detective told me that without that blanket, they might never have tied her to the abduction. I couldn't stop thinking about the mother. The moment they returned her baby, she apparently collapsed into sobs, holding her like she'd never let go again. Even now, I can't walk past a flea market without glancing at every baby item, wondering where it came from. Thought I was just buying a cozy little blanket for $5. Instead, I became part of the story of how a stranger's life and her baby's life was saved. Sometimes I still hear the seller's voice in my head. "That one's special. I guess she was right, just not in the way she wanted."